Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make my version of sweet and spicy chili chicken. So what you see on my counter is what we're going to use to do the first step of this recipe, and it is two steps. The first, we're going to cut up our chicken and then we're going to season it with everything you have here on the counter before we bake it. The second step is we're going to mix up a sauce that's going to go on the chicken after the fact, because we want this chicken to bake up and get kind of crispy around the edges. And then we're going to add the sauce to it and let it coat it and give it a flavor totally after the fact. So what we have here is everything we need to actually give this chicken a little flavor on its own. And we're using like garlic powder, black pepper, some Italian seasoning, crushed red pepper, some Cajun seasoning, some cayenne pepper, some baking powder, and some cornstarch. And if you're wondering about the cornstarch and stuff like the baking powder, we're just trying to give this an edge when it's cooking. That's going to help it give that outer crispiness to it. So all of this is going to work together to, one, make this chicken taste good to begin with, but two, add to what we're going to add to it later. And the whole thing is going to mix together to have this really sweet, spicy thing. And it has a bit of a kick to it, but it's such a great thing to eat, because I tell you, once I mixed this up the first time I came up with this, I totally enjoyed it. I love the taste of it, and I hope you do too. So we're going to take our chicken, cut off any of the fat that comes with it. Make sure that there is nothing in here like a bone or anything. I was cutting up chicken the other day and there was a bone in the breast, and this is supposed to be boneless, skinless chicken that I got that day. And I was like, really? There's a bone in here? Somebody could choke on that. But anyway, so once we get the chicken totally cut into strips here, we're going to make sure that if you have long pieces of chicken, you can actually cut these strips down to a decent size. We don't need super long strips of this. We are going to do this just in a way to where we're going to have like medium to smaller strips that are going to be seasoned and have the sauce on it, and they're just going to be served in a pile on your plate. So go ahead and work your way through your breast. Now, I'm doing this with 2 chicken breasts. You literally could do this with 4 or 6. All you need to do is multiply the recipe that I'm giving you. So if you were doing this for 4 people, just do 4 breasts and 4 times the seasoning and stuff. Just multiply it. If you were doing 6, just multiply it by, whatever. And just go ahead and do what you got to do to get it to the amount of chicken you're using. So, and if you wanted to use a different kind of chicken, you probably could, but this is just what I was using. So in our bowl here, we are adding in a half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a half of a teaspoon of garlic powder, a fourth of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of pepper, a half a teaspoon of Kingsford Cajun seasoning, and 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch. And what we're going to do is mix this up until it is completely mixed together, and then we're going to take and put our strips in here and get them coated in it. So there is plenty here to coat what you have, and you want to keep like mixing this around until they are totally coated with this, because you want to make sure that you get all the edges, everything to where it's got a kind of whitish look to it, but you know that you've used all the seasoning in the bowl. Now at the same time, you're going to have to bake these in a minute. Now if you're using a regular conventional oven, you want to go ahead and preheat it to 400 degrees. You can use an air fryer if you want, which you're going to use that at 390. However, it just depends on what you're using here. If you're using an air fryer, you're going to bake these at 390 for about 10 minutes, and you're going to actually turn them halfway through. If you're using a conventional oven, 400 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes, and you really don't have to turn them in that. So make sure your chicken is totally coated, and we will move on to the next step. So as you can see, mine was looking really great, really coated, and we're going to go ahead and get a pan to put this in. I coat mine with aluminum foil just so I don't have to clean up a mess, and spray it with some nonstick cooking spray, because that way the chicken doesn't stick to anything and we get it totally out of there and it's in good shape. So go ahead and line these onto your baking pan. Don't pile them on top of each other, give them room so that way we can get that crispy edge to them that we want to get. And just go ahead and add each one of them until you've gotten them all onto the pan. Now, like I said before, if you're doing many more of these than 2, you're going to need a bigger pan than what I used. But same method, pretty much same cooking time. Now, if you're substituting a different kind of chicken for what I'm doing, your cook time may be different, so you need to take that into account. And anyway, once we get all of these onto our pan and they are separate and not overlapping that much, if you have any of the spice still left in the bottom, take it out and sprinkle it over top, because that's what I did. I don't want to waste any of this. And then we're going to get ready to put this into the oven. And as I said, cook times I already went through with you. And then once this is cooking, we're just going to go ahead and start mixing up the sauce that's going to go on the outside of it. So as you can see on my counter, there are several different things here, and we're going to use these to mix together to make what we're going to put on the outside. We have everything from olive oil, we have a little bit of minced garlic, we have some honey, we have some butter, some soy sauce, some chili sauce, sriracha, and we're going to use these all to go into this container. Now, as you can see, my butter is not melted. We're going to do that last, because what we're going to do is take every single one of these, put them into the bowl, mix them up with the butter, and then put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, so that way we can melt that butter down and then stir it up and get ready for the chicken. So you're going to need at least a smaller to medium sized bowl to put this into, to make sure everything mixes through, and then we're going to get ready to do this. So the first thing we're going to start off with is 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce. Then we're going to use a tablespoon of olive oil. We're adding to this 2 tablespoons of butter. Then we have 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. We have a tablespoon of chili sauce. And then the next thing we're going to be adding is 1 tablespoon of honey. And then the last thing we're going to have going into this is 1 tablespoon of sriracha. And once that is in there, we're going to like stir this up, mix it up, make sure that all of the stuff that's liquid and can be mixed together is mixed together. And as we stir this up and get it ready to roll, once you get it to a point where it looks like everything's starting to combine, then we're going to take it to the microwave. And like I said, for 30 seconds at least, we want to make sure that this heats up until the butter is melted. Because once this stuff starts to heat up, it's going to help melt the butter anyway, but we want to get this ready long before the chicken is ready to have this coating on it. So this is mine back from the microwave. As you can see, it turns totally different looking once it's heated up, and you're ready to go, because you have this kind of funky brown sauce here, and the chicken is back from the oven. So we're going to take this and drizzle it over top of the chicken. And that way the chicken is going to get like a good coating over the top, and it's going to go to the bottom, and then we're going to stir up all of the chicken together. And that way we can make sure that it gets completely coated, because you want to change the color of your chicken with this. So once this is in, if you have a spoon, spatula, or whatever, just turn it around a few times and give the chicken a second to soak this up a little bit, because it will start to actually soak into the chicken and change it completely in color. And then once you're ready to serve this, you can add so many things to this as a side. And this is what I did with mine. I just sprinkled it with a little bit of parsley on top, and this was such a great meal to have, and it has such a great spicy taste. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out my cookbooks, which are available in bookstores worldwide. The first is about everyday cooking. The second is all about baking. Have a great day.